You dwell in the shelter, you abide in His shadow for life. Say to the Lord, my refuge, my rock, in whom I trust, and He will raise you up on eagle's wings, bear you on the breath of dawn, make you to shine like the sun, and hold you in the palm of His hand. The snare of the fowler will never capture you, and famine will bring you no fear. Under His wings, your refuge, His faithfulness, your shield, and He will raise you up on eagle's wings, bear you on the breath of dawn, make you to shine like the sun, and hold you in the palm of His hand. And for to His angels He's given a command to guide you in all of your ways. Upon their hands they will bear you up, lest you dash your foot against a stone. And He will raise you up on eagle's wings, bear you on the breath of dawn, make you to shine like the sun, and hold you in the palm of His hand. And hold you in the palm of His hand.
Good afternoon po, dear teachers. My name po is Melvin Adora, and I'm a member of the i.LEAD family. And kumusta po kayo? Kayo po ba ay nakapag-lunch po ng maayos? Dito po sa Baguio City, medyo mainit po ngayon. But later on siguro, mamayang hapon, medyo lalamig na po, no? Just a few reminders lang po. For those who haven't yet done the attendance, the link po is open na sa ating Facebook group So you can go to our Facebook group and then you can check on the link para po mag-attendance po tayo for session 1. So basically po, every session meron po tayong attendance. And for today, ito po yung attendance natin. And don't forget po to download yung assessment tool po natin. This assessment tool is on Word file. So this tool contains already the task for every session. So kindly download it po, and then after every session po, you can do the task during our asynchronous meet. Okay? And let's welcome to our i.LEAD family, Ma'am Myra Noriesta from SDO Santa Rosa as a lifetime member. Welcome po, Ma'am Myra. And anyone po is invited to become an i.LEAD member, and the membership link can be found po sa ating Facebook group. Okay? So I encourage po and invite everyone po to visit our Facebook group because the links are there already for your consumption. Now, welcome again to our first session in this year's webinar workshop for conducting research for qualitative, quantitative, and mixed methods. And the teachers as educators and researchers need to be informed how to utilize and maximize qualitative, quantitative, and mixed methods research, especially for applications in classroom action research and educational research. The objective of this session is to inform teacher participants on how to use the three methods separately in various studies. And our expected learning outcomes, the first is to develop a deeper understanding and appreciation of the online research through qualitative, quantitative, and mixed methods, and to understand and appreciate the applications of these approaches separately and as applied in online research. And this is for our assessment for this session. For proficient teachers, you are tasked to identify possible topics for classroom action research utilizing qualitative, quantitative, and mixed methods. And for our highly proficient teachers, to match the proposed topics with complementary research methodology. And to help us in this afternoon session, let's welcome Dr. Mia Torres de la Cruz. She holds a PhD in educational management. She specializes in research, information and communications technology, educational technology, mathematics, statistics and physics, and then green ICT sustainability. She is currently a researcher, educator, and consultant at Infinite Dynamic Minds International Research and Consultations at Negeri Sembilan, Malaysia, and at Sairam Institute of Management, Sairam Engineering College, Sai Leo Nagar in India. So without further ado, my dear teachers, let's welcome po Dr. Mia de la Cruz.
Hello. Can you hear me po?
Yes po, Doc Mia.
Okay. Thank you, Sir Melvin, and good afternoon to everyone. It is my pleasure and honor to be here with you today. I am going to discuss the differences, comparison pala po of qualitative, quantitative, and mixed methods. So let me share my screen now po. Ayan. So may I start? Here. Okay, so we have here how to design po, no? Designing quantitative, ayan. Designing quantitative, qualitative, and mixed methods. So these are our topics. We will be comparing three methods. We have quantitative, qualitative, and mixed methods. So Ayan. Unahin ho natin yung dilemma, yung problema. The problem first of designing our research. I know some of you have already started with the research, action research, or basic research. And the thing is, a lot of our studies are being turned down. Hindi ho ba? Ako po ay nakikisimpatize. Yung gawa ka ng gawa, no? Gawa ka ng gawa ng action research mo, pero they turned it down. Yun po ang isang problema natin. There are a lot of reasons why our action research and our basic research are being turned down. And one of this is the design. Minsan, when we submit our proposal, they will question the design of our research. Pero yun nga, sabi natin dito, after choosing the topic, ibig sabihin unang-una, the very first thing that we have a difficulty is the topic. Hindi ho ba? Tama po ba ako? Agree ho ba kayo doon?
Opo.
yung topic, ang hirap maghanap ng topic. In other words, it's so difficult to choose a topic. Problema natin yung problema, di ba? Problema natin kung ano yung poproblemahin natin. Yan. So, yan po ang research. Anyway, after the topic, ang susunod na difficult thing that we encounter in research is choosing the right design. Hindi ho ba? Yung right design. Okay, paano nga ba? Ano bang gagamitin ko? What do I use? Is it quantitative, qualitative, or should I use mixed research design? So sometimes ito, no, it's something that we always do. When we choose the design, minsan yung familiar tayo, mas kampante ako sa quantitative, so I will use quantitative. Other times, we choose the design that we consider na easy. Sige nga po, alin po dyan sa tingin ninyo ang mas madali, quantitative o qualitative? Sige, we will use, asan ba yung ating emoji? Okay, let's use the emoji, let's use the emoji na, asan po ba ang emoji natin? Hindi ko mahanap. Pasensya na po, ang ginagamit ko po kasi ay Teams. Anyway, mag-press ho tayo. Wala yata tayong emojis. Meron ba?
Doon sa may reactions.
Emoji.
Reactions po, ma'am.
Ay, reactions. Okay. Ay, dito pala sa baba. Reactions. Okay. Ang reactions natin, ayun, reactions. Sensya na po. Ang reactions po natin, sige, kung madali sa inyo ang quantitative, yung thumbs up, yan. Pero pagka qualitative naman po ay heart, yan. At kung mixed method, yung ano to, yung tada. Tada! Okay. Sige nga po. Sige, quantitative. Anong tawag dito? Thumbs up. Heart kapag qualitative. At saka mixed research design po. Pag ang mixed research design would be yung merong mga yung cone. Yan. Sige po. Let me see. Let me see po. Ayan. So, merong yung iba po ay thumbs up. Wala bang yung madali lang po, madali. Para sa inyo. Aba, quantitative. Ayan, quantitative, sabi nila. Ay, ang dami wala pong nagbigay ng heart. Si Sir Josue. Yan. Okay. So, yung iba po, they choose the design that they think is easier. Okay, yung iba po heart kasi they perceive that qualitative is easy. Okay, so tignan ho natin later, no? Tignan natin kung alin po talaga ang mas easy. Okay. So, let's start with the quantitative design. Okay. So, quantitative design, it establishes that it establishes statistically significant conclusions about the population by studying a representative sample of the population. Yan. So, see, yung walang kamatayang Creswell quantitative definition, di ba? Sabi niya, statistically significant conclusions. We are going to conclude according to statistics, no? Through the study of a representative sample of populations. So, usually, yung sa quantitative design, kailangan meron po tayong sample. So, the population would be the entire group. Ang sample would be the representative of the population. So, sabi dito, in quantitative design, it does not matter if the population is broad or narrow, no? What matters is that it would include every individual that fits the description of the group being studied. Yan. So yun po ang quantitative studies. Quantitative design. So, of course, when we do quantitative studies, we are going to collect quantitative design, hindi ba? So ano po? Quantitative data. We are going to collect quantitative data. So ano ba ang quantitative data? They are numbers and statistics. Yun po, no? So the data that we are going to use, that we are going to analyze are numbers and statistics. So ano ho ba ang advantage if we are going to use quantitative data? For quantitative data, we can collect and analyze much more information. Mas madami tayong nakokolekta na information. And then with quantitative data, we make general statements. Bakit po? Bakit general statements? Kasi nga, the samples that we identify, no, yung mga respondents natin, we collect data from them because they are considered to be representing the whole population. Yan pa, no? So, of course, kung may advantage, meron namang drawback or disadvantage. Sa quantitative design, no, the data would have a lack of depth. Ibig sabihin, we cannot interpret ang reason bakit. No? We do not know the reason why. For example, if we are going to identify the average height of Filipinos, kunwari, no? We want to get the average height. Let's say the average height is 5'5", no? 5'5". So, alam ba natin, may explain ho ba natin? Can we explain the reason why? Can we explain the context? Do we know the emotions or feelings involved with the data given, no? So, there is lack of depth. Yan, no? And then, it will require, of course, mathematical and statistical knowledge so that we will be able to analyze the data effectively. Yan. So, if we are going to do quantitative data, we should have enough knowledge to be able to analyze the quantitative data. So sometimes our teachers would say, o di mag-hire na lang ako ng statistician. Yan. Mag-hire na lang ako ng someone who will do the statistics and the analysis for me. Yan. Sino sa inyo po ang nag-hire na lang ng statistician? Or pwede naman po, instead of hiring a statistician, mag-training ka na lang. Yan, no? You go through training like this one, for example, and then you will be able to do the statistics yourself so that you will have more, no? More knowledge about your study or your research. Okay, so ano ba ang mga designs for quantitative analysis? For quantitative analysis, we have two po, no? According to Creswell din to. Sabi niya, there are two designs for quantitative analysis. We have experimental and non-experimental, no? Experimental and non-experimental. Under experimental, we have the true experiments. And we have the true experiments. We also have the quasi experiments. And we have single subject experiments. Ito yung, we use this in social sciences, yung applied behavioral experiments. For non-experimental, ito usually when we use survey, no? We use surveys. We have the causal comparative research and we have the correlational design. Isa-isahin ho natin yan. Okay. So we have the experimental. For experimental, first we have the true experiments. Ano yung true experiments? True experiments, ito po, dinidescribe natin all the studies with at least one independent variable that is manipulated, experimentally manipulated, and one dependent, at least one dependent or outcome variable through experiments. Yon, no? Then we have the quasi experiments. Ano yung quasi experiments? Yung bang minsan sasabihin ng friends mo, no, sasabihin ng peers mo or your colleagues, in your action research, make use of quasi experiments. Bakit? No? Bakit quasi experiment? Kasi parang parang tatalinuhin, di ba? parang for the intelligent yan, di ba? Quasi experimental. Ba? Di ba? Kaya lang po, ang quasi experiment, let's understand ko ano ba ito. So ito, we attempt to establish a cause and effect. No? Ano ba ang cause nito? No? Ano ba ang effect ng variable na to? So the quasi-experimental is used to establish a relationship na cause and effect. Okay? So in quasi-experimental research, we use criteria, hindi siya random, no? It's not randomization. We use criterial factors. The third one, this one is in social sciences usually. We call this the single subject experiment. So single subjects experiments, usually we apply treatment, experimental treatment to a single individual or small number of individuals, one or two lang, 1, 2, or 3 individuals. So this is considered single subject experiments. Yan. So ito po yung experimental under quantitative. Ang non-experimental naman, this is where we use survey, no? The survey method. So for non-experimental, we have the causal comparative research. What is the causal comparative research? This is a comparison of two or more groups in terms of a cause, that has already happened. So causal comparative. So yung bang sasabihin nila, ano ba yung asan yung independent variable mo? Ganyan. Ilan ang independent variables mo? May dalawa ka ba? Ganyan. Dalawa. Saan mo i-compare itong independent variable na to? Causal comparative research. Tawag doon, no? So if you have independent variables that you want to compare, these are being tested, or these are being studied using the causal comparative research. And of course, we have the correlational design, which is the most common. No? Ito po yung pinaka-common. What is the significant relationship? Yung mga ganun-ganon, no? Correlational design po yon. So our researchers use the we use correlational statistics, no, to describe and measure the degree or association or relationship between two or more variables. Or pagka may mga scores, may mga values, may mga means, ganyan, no, we compare kung ano yung correlation nila, or how do they relate to each other, or how do they differ. Okay, so correlational design po tawag natin doon. So that is for quantitative. Yan. Are there any questions po for quantitative? Are there any questions before we continue? Okay. May question po ba? I-check ko nga po yung sa chat. Okay. Hello po from, wala. From SDO Santa Rosa. Hello po sa mga taga Santa Rosa. Okay, so we continue sa qualitative design po tayo, no? Qualitative design. Qualitative design, sabi ni Zygmunt, it describes an event in its natural settings. Okay, so as you can see, it's a description. Usually it's a description. It is a subjective way to look at life as it is being lived, and the attempt to explain the studied behavior. Kaya nga yung we see a lot of studies na lived experience of, ganyan, no? The lived experience of PWDs in the academic setting, lived experience of seamen in the East Pacific, mga ganyan, no? Or the lived experience, or the experiences of hostages, okay, hostages in the Syrian war, mga ganun. So we have those are qualitative studies. So ito pa yon, no? Sa qualitative studies, nakita ho natin kanina. All right. Doon sa tinanong ko, alin ba ang mas madali para sa iyo? Karamihan, no? Karamihan said quantitative, pero marami there are also a few who said mas madali ang qualitative design. Madali nga po ba? Yan. Personally po, no? Personally, mas mahirap po sa akin ang qualitative design. So as data analyst po, no, how do you call this? I get more working time with qualitative design. So kapag nag-charge po tayo ng work, no, ng job, I charge more time sa qualitative design. Kasi for me, it takes more time to analyze, to interpret qualitative studies than quantitative. Another thing is, makikita nyo rin po, ano? So we have applications. We have computer applications for both quantitative and qualitative. Sa quantitative, alam natin, no? SPSS, JASP, SPP, mga gano'n, no? Those are applications that would help us in quantitative analysis. Pero sa qualitative po, no? Although meron na rin po siya, but the difficulty of the process for qualitative design, it has it was a bit longer, no? It was a bit longer. There was a longer time for developers to create qualitative applications, qualitative analysis applications than quantitative. Kasi nga quantitative, computations po yan. Marami tayong mathematical models that we can just apply. But in qualitative, hindi po siya ganon, no? We need to use data mining. We need to use text data, yung mga data analysis theories po, theories, yun gagamitin ho natin sa software development, no? Alam ho natin yan masyadong mahirap. I think they use artificial intelligence even, no? So that they can develop qualitative applications, qualitative analysis applications. Okay, so yeah, no? Qualitative design for me, no? It's more difficult than quantitative. Who are teaching in the junior high and senior high po? Sino po sa inyo ang nagtuturo in the junior high and senior high? Ayun, si Ma'am LV, si Ma'am Jean, yan, no? Pati rin po si Ma'am Maureen, yan. So, yes, we already teach qualitative, di ba? In the anong year po? Anong grade? Which grade do we teach qualitative methods for practical research?
Grade 11.
Grade 11. Po, no? We actually teach qualitative first before quantitative. Am I right po?
Yes po, ma'am.
Yes. So qualitative po muna. No? Qualitative. Why is that? Why do you think? Bakit natin tinuturo ang qualitative research in grade 11 tapos later na lang yung quantitative? Why do you think? Why do you think? Because we perceive it to be easier for them to understand. Di ho ba? Mas madaling intindihin kasi. Yan. Or maybe because we do not have models, di ba? We do not have mathematical models to do qualitative research. Unlike in quantitative, kailangan turuan muna natin sila ng stat, di ba? I am not sure, maybe yun ang study ninyo, mas effective ba ang ituro natin muna sa kanila ang qualitative before quantitative. Yan po, no? But ano po ang feedback ninyo? What do you think? Is it better to teach them qualitative first before quantitative? What do you think? Sa mga nagtuturo po.
It's
Yes,
better
sir.
to teach qualitative first because for the senior high school, the first research is the qualitative, then the quantitative, because prerequisite of the quantitative is their statistics, which will be discussed later in grade 11 second semester, so that they have prior knowledge when it comes to computation.
Okay. So yun ang reason po natin. Yes. Thank you, sir. Yes, the reason actually is because we teach statistics later. Kaya ang
Yes po.
quantitative later rin, no? But do you think qualitative should be taught first in terms of interpretation at saka yung logic formation nila? Bakit po? Kasi, okay, we will discuss sa susunod. Thank you, sir. No? So, sabi ni Sir Junel, students should have background first in statistics in their grade 11 before mag-quanti sa grade 12, sabi niya. Yes. Yun nga po ang reason, I think. That's the reason why they teach qualitative first kasi wala pa silang stat. Yan. Sabi ni Sir Denan, Sir Carino, he says, for me, quanti should be taught first. Yan. Para sa kanya po. Bakit, sir? Bakit sa tingin nyo? Mauuna dapat.
Po siya. For me, based on my understanding and experience,
Yes, sir. Hello, Sir Denan. Ay, wala po si Sir Denan. Sir, type mo na lang. Kung...
hello po. Kasi
yes,
po,
sir.
my experience po, ma'am, po, Doc, kasi, di ba, yung quanti mo na, kasi, di ba, based on my experience, kasi yung process is quanti mo na, and then, may part kasi doon na, if not well explained, it would be through qualitative to dig deeper on the phenomenon or the subject being studied. Kasi di ba it would not be explained well in the quantitative approach. So it would be explained further using the qualitative approach. Yun lang po ang observation.
That's correct po. Opo, that's correct. We have the same thoughts din, sir, no? For me, we teach we teach quantitative po muna because yung line of thinking, no? Yung line of thinking. Kasi nga po, 'di ba, meron tayong how we think in depth, no? So yung line of thinking, nauuna po kasi ang quantitative kasi sa quantitative agad-agad we already see the result. Nandun na kagad yung result natin. Nag-ranking tayo, oops, nandun na. Nag-descriptive stat tayo, nag-measure of central tendency tayo. Kita na natin kaagad doon, no? And it's easy to explain. It's easy to justify. Ang qualitative po kasi in-depth. Dapat siya in-depth. We need to understand yung feelings, yung what they are going through at that particular time, yung pag-extract, no? Where we extract yung pattern, yung ganun po, no? Mas mahirap actually for me ang qualitative design. Tingnan natin why I say that. Okay. Tuloy ho natin. Yan. So, eto. Qualitative data. Ito po kasi kaya ganon, no? Qualitative data, it would include words, opinions, thoughts, feelings, at saka behaviors, no? So wala ho siyang it does not have a standard rule. Unlike in quantitative, sabihin natin na kapag ang pag lumabas yung computation mo greater than alpha or greater than ganito, ito na ang conclusion mo, no? But in qualitative data, hindi po. Di ba? Hindi ho siya ganun eh. Wala siyang, pag sinabi niya ganito, eto na ang sagot. Pag sinabi niyang nagalit siya, ayun na. Hindi po, hindi ho ganun. No? Ang advantage, the advantage for qualitative data is you get a lot of details from specific cases, from people, from the respondents, from your group. No? By the way, kapag qualitative pala, we call them participants. No? Pagka quantitative, we call them respondents. So that's the difference between the two. Kasi minsan when we do our research, we hop from participant and then we say respondent, participant, respondent. What's the difference ba? Accordingly, we say respondents doon sa mga nagbigay sa atin ng data in quantitative analysis or quantitative data, those who give us quantitative data in surveys usually. No? On the other hand, for interviews, focus groups, yung mga kinuhanan natin ng data, they are called participants. Yan po. Okay, anyway, advantage of qualitative data, you get lots of details about them, no? From cases, from the people, from a certain group that we are studying. So, ito naman po yung disadvantage. Okay, kita natin, mas mahirap, mas maraming disadvantage. Ano po? We cannot make general statements. Kasi nga, unlike in quantitative analysis, we get a sample that is representative of the population. So dahil nire-represent nila, then we can conclude generally. So sabihin na natin, lahat na sila ganito. So generally, ito na ang characteristic or ito na ang behavior, ito na yung ganyan, no? So, in qualitative, hindi po. We cannot make general statements because our participants cannot be representative of the population. Ito, isa pa po, yung alam niyo po ang analysis ng qualitative data, very time consuming. Kaya nga po, kapag qualitative yung study mo, kailangan tutukan mo siya. Hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na, in 2 weeks, I will finish analysis. No, because it is time-consuming and labor-intensive. Labor-intensive siya. Kasi from interview, tapos transcription, coding, di ba? Pattern, extracting the pattern seeking, medyo matagal-tagal po. And then analysis is very subjective. So subjective po talaga ang qualitative data. So no universal rule for interpretation. Sabi ko nga sa inyo, wala siyang formula. Wala siyang model. There are no universal rules for interpretation. So when we interpret as is from the opinions, from the feelings, from the thoughts, from the behaviors of our participants. We do not follow any framework. Yun po, no? And then, yun nga, another advantage is that qualitative analysis is subject to misconception. Pwedeng ma-misinterpret, pwedeng ma-misunderstand, no? So, they are subject to misconceptions. Yan. These are our, may kulang, sorry. May kulang po tayo. These are the designs. We have narrative research, phenomenology, grounded theory, ethnographies, yan. Case study, and may isa pa yung thematic research, thematic design. Okay, so we have narrative design. Narrative design, ito yung design of inquiry from humanities in which the researcher will study the lives of individuals and ask them to provide stories about their lives. Narrative design po siya. So narrative design is when you ask them to narrate their lives or narrate their stories, narrate particular time in their life, an event, no? An event, an activity, ipakwento nyo sa kanila. Then, ano nga daw po yung narrative yata ito yung design or method ng ating mga intellectual marites. Sabi nila, no? Kasi manghihingi sila ng kwento, ng stories. Okay. Then we have the phenomenology design. Okay. Phenomenology design, it is a design of inquiry coming from philosophy and psychology in which the researcher will describe the lived experiences of individuals about a phenomenon as described by the participants. For example, yung what is your what was your experience? What was your experience during the pandemic in distributing the modules? Ano ba yung mga experiences ninyo noong pandemic while you were distributing yung modules? SLM? Do we call it SLM? Yes. Okay. So, yun, phenomenological study po yun. Or, what are your experiences as student teachers? Yan. What are your lived experiences as student teachers? Or what are your lived experiences as applicants, as teacher applicants in the government? Yan, parang maganda yata yun. Ano po? No? O meron na. Meron nang nag-aral nun. Ano kaya result? Okay, anyway, we have types. We have the types of the phenomenology design. We have descriptive. Okay? Descriptive phenomenological, sabi nila, no? Kaya makikita niyo po yung mga studies, descriptive phenomenological study. Yan. Or yung descriptive ho kasi kay ano siya forgot. Kasi yung hermeneutics kay Heidegger. Yan. We also have the phenomenological analysis na interpretive. Okay? Or we call it the hermeneutic phenomenology. Okay. See? Dami pong yung sa phenomenological na nga lang medyo meron ng mga terms na, oops, mahirap yata yan, di ba? May mga terms na, ay, may ganyan pala. Akala natin na kapag tinuro natin yung qualitative, o sige, pag-describein mo lang yung mga at sabihin mo lang kung ano yung mga, isulat mo lang yung mga sinabi niya, yun na. Hindi po, hindi ganon. That is not qualitative research. Okay? So yun, sa phenomenological design, yan siya. No? A certain phenomenon, and then ask the participants what are their experiences. Ask them to describe their experiences. Some studies in medicine, no, where they ask patients to describe what they have gone through when they were going through, for example, chemotherapy, ganyan, no? It can be it is a phenomenological design. Next, we go to grounded theory design. Ito po. Yung grounded theory, we have this design is usually in sociology. We have a general abstract theory of a process, action, or interaction grounded on the views of participants. So what we want to identify would be the relationship or how the views of the participants can be explained from a theory, no? From a theory. So i-explain natin yan from a theory. That's what we call grounded theory design. So there are two types of theories, yung a priori theory and posteriori theory. Yung a priori, yung independent siya, no? Independent siya. Hindi siya it is before. There's a theory before we compare. Posteriori naman is the theory after the process, action, or interaction. So a priori theory and posteriori theory. So yan, di ba? Qualitative po yan. So paano po kaya natin ituturo sa grade 11 yan, no? So they really need to identify a theory, tapos yung mga in-interview nila, they will have to base it on they will have to interpret that according to the theory that they have selected. O, di ba? Ang hirap. So, ganun po, di ba? The next one naman, we have ethnographic study. What is ethnographic study? So, usually sa anthropology po ito. So, design of inquiry coming from anthropology and sociology, in which researchers would study, okay, do we have any, I think we have two raised hands. Ma'am Marife? Ma'am Marife, do you have anything to say? Ma'am Marife, go ahead po. Ma'am Marife. Hello? Hello? Sir Melvin, naririnig ko ba ako? Sir
Yes po,
Mel.
Doc Mia.
Yes. Okay, Ma'am Marife, meron po ba tayong question before? Sabi ni Ma'am Jean po dito, sorry. Sabi ni Ma'am Marife, na-click lang daw po niya. Sabi ni Ma'am Jean, correct daw po, analysis is subjective and there is no rule to follow. Ayan. Correct po, Ma'am. Okay, we continue sa ethnographic. So ethnographic, sabi nga natin, this is coming from anthropology and sociology. So researchers would study the shared patterns of behavior. So pag-aaralan mo yung behavior, pag-aaralan yung language, yung actions of an intact cultural group sa natural setting nila over a prolonged period of time. So, say pag-aaralan natin yung ethnographic study ba yung ano? Let's say we will study the actions, the way anong tawag doon, yung chihuahua. Chihuahuas would behave compared to, for example, mga German Shepherd, mga gano'n, no? Okay. Para safe. Para safe. I will not talk about people. Anyway, so that's an example of an ethnographic study. Yan. And we have case study design. Meron pang isa. Case study design. So the case study design, it is a design of inquiry found in many fields, especially evaluation, no? In which researcher develops an in-depth analysis of a case. Often, the case could be a program or an event or an activity or a process or maybe one or more individual pwedeng that individual is a specialist in a particular field. Po. So that is case study design. Another type of case study design would be a multi-case design. So multi-case design is when you have to study more than one case, no? More than one case. So that is for case study design. Then we have the thematic analysis. Thematic analysis would involve reading through a data set such as transcripts, no? From in-depth interviews o kaya focus groups, then we identify patterns in meaning across the data to derive themes. So meron tayong, we are going to derive particular themes that is of course related to our study and to our topic. So those are the methods. Those are the designs for qualitative analysis. So now if I am going to ask you again, so do you still think it is easier to do a qualitative study compared to a quantitative study? Ayan po. Okay, so any questions po before we continue? Do we have any questions po? Do we have any questions?
If you have questions for dear teachers, you can click on the raise hand button, or you may put them in the chat box for me.
Okay. All right, so we go to the next type. Oh, okay. Sorry, nakalimutan ko po ito. We have other qualitative methods po, aside from those that we have discussed. There are qualitative methods for forecasting. So one would be expert opinion. Yung expert opinion po would be asking experts, pwedeng isang expert, pwedeng a number of experts, and then we pull together what they have discussed, and then this will be used as data for forecasting studies. Same with Delphi technique po. Delphi technique is when we collect data, no? Collect qualitative data, and we will use this also for forecasting. Yan. Hold on po. Sorry for that. Okay, so the other qualitative method is what we call the Colizzi strategy. Colizzi strategy is when we use this strategy to exhaust, no? When we do exhaustive description of a particular phenomenon. So this is a strategy developed by Colizzi. Yun po. Okay. So yun po yung mga qualitative methods natin. Then we have the third design, no? Our third design is mixed methods design. Mixed methods design. From the word itself, it is descriptive of the design that we will use, no? So mixed methods design, this is involving a combination of qualitative and quantitative research. Diba? Obviously, no, we combine or integrate qualitative and quantitative research, and all the data so that okay, so that we will be able to support each other. Okay, researchers will collect different types of data, no? So syempre, since qualitative is textual and quantitative is numeric, magkaiba talaga. They are different. There are different types of data. So paano yon? How are we going to integrate? How are we going to use both data which are of different types? How are we going to interpret that? Okay. So mixed methods design usually is parang mas wholesome, kumbaga, kasi we have a quantitative data that would be yung sinasabi nating real-time results, and we have yung in-depth results. Pagsamahin natin yan to support each other. Kasi nga po, no, in quantitative, hindi mababaw lang siya. Na, for example, in the measurement of central tendency, we will just identify na, oops, average natin is this one, no? Yun lang. Ito yung average. Ito yung description ng general, ganyan. But okay, sa qualitative naman, ang problema naman is that paano kung iba yung is my interpretation correct? Ganyan. Correct ba yung interpretation ko? Tama ba na nilink ko ito doon sa theory ni ganito? Ganyan, no? So using both methods together will support each other. Po, no? So supportive silang dalawa. Kaya lang ang pagkakaiba kasi in some for some schools, no? Some schools, iba daw ang mixed method sa quanti-quali. Yan, no? As long as you have two different types of data, na the other one is quantitative data, the other one is qualitative data, pagsasamahin mo yan, still called mixed method. So bakit po nila sinasabi na iba kasi yung quanti-quali, iba yung quali-quanti, mga ganun, no? Ito po ang reason. The reason is that, okay, the reason is that sometimes we lean more on the quantitative, especially for business, no? Yung mga business studies po, they lean more on the quantitative, pero meron silang support that would explain, no? That would explain the results that have been the results of the quantitative data collection, no? Sometimes naman, especially in social sciences, we lean more on the qualitative. Okay, we lean more on the qualitative. So, ang leaning natin sa qualitative in social sciences yung mga profiling, ganyan po, no? When we do profiling, when we do averaging, yung kuha tayo ng mean na lahat-lahat sila ganito, kaya sige po, pwede na. O pwede rin namang criterial ang gamit ng quantitative. Tapos yung minsan naman ang qualitative, ang ginagawa natin support siya, no? We support our quantitative parang explanation, i-explain niya yung quantitative results. Yan po. Okay, so advantages. Ito pa pala, sabing ganon, sa mixed methods design, tina-triangulate natin. Anong ibig sabihin ng triangulation? Triangulation is when you integrate, no? I-integrate natin yung hahanap tayo ng common, no? Common doon sa dalawang types of data para madali lang natin silang i-relate. Yan. Triangulation po ang tawag doon. So, the results of triangulation would offer higher validity and reliability of research. Yung ibang mixed methods po, they do not use triangulation anymore because they don't need to. Okay. Yung iba, they don't need to because sometimes the qualitative will only be an explanation of the results taken. Para magkaroon lang siya ng in-depth na explanation. No? Sometimes naman, okay, sometimes triangulation does not, they do not need triangulation anymore when the quantitative data is only criterial. Ibig sabihin, ginamit mo lang siya na criteria para makapagpili ka nung participants mo na isasali mo doon sa yung study. Yan po, no? Okay, advantages. What are the advantages? Or isa lang po, kaya advantage. Okay, what is the advantage of mixed methods? So, advantage is it would avoid criticism by canceling the effects of one methodology by including the other methodology. Yan. Ang disadvantage naman for mixed method, of course, it will take more time and effort besides adding potential costs. Yan, mas mahal. Mas mahal ang mixed method. Siyempre, kasi aside from the quantitative cost, quantitative analysis cost mo, meron pang qualitative analysis cost. Alin po sa inyo ang mas mahal? Quantitative or qualitative? Alin po sa tingin nyo?
Qualitative.
Qualitative mas mahal? Yung iba po?
Opo.
Quanti daw, sabi ni Sir Michael. Quali naman, sabi ni Ma'am Doreen. Quali din daw, sabi ni Sir AJH.
Quantitative.
Quantitative, sabi ni Ma'am. Okay. Sir Pedro, yun, qualitative. Bakit, sir? Bakit sinabi mong mas mahal, Sir Pedro? Go ahead po. Sir Pedro? Or kahit sino na lang po. Bakit sa tingin nyo mas mahal ang qualitative? Why do you think qualitative is much more expensive, costly to do? Yes, Sir Denan.
Kasi po, it takes time to conduct the study, especially if your data is not enough, you really have to go back to the field. And,
Yes, opo. Totoo
and
yun.
also doing the interpretation of the interview transcripts. It's time consuming, unlike with the quantitative approach, wherein as long as you are very good with numbers, so you can process the data right away.
Ayan. O, sabi ni Sir Denan daw, it will take more time, thus more money. Tama po, no? You will consume internet, di ba? Internet, tsaka kuryente, di ba? Tubig, pagkain. Kasi syempre, magmimerienda ka habang nagtatranscribe. Yan po, no? How about Sir Robles naman? Sir Robles, sabi niya mas mahal daw ang quanti. Sir Michael. Ay, sino po? Sige,
Sir
go
Robles.
ahead, sir. Sir Robles.
I think mas mahal po ang quanti kasi it requires lot of respondents, meaning you need to provide more questionnaire checklist kung yun po ay kailangan. Then ang quali naman po ay kahit ilan ang respondents, hindi naman po siya ganun karami. So actually we can do qualitative research kahit palima lang ang respondents po. Thank you po.
Okay, sabi ni Sir Robles, mas mahal daw po ang survey ay ang quanti kasi yung survey materials mo. O tama po, kapag masyadong maraming respondents, di ba? Marami kang bibigyan ng survey questionnaire. Kung questionnaire ginagamit mo na paper. Pag online naman, yung sa Survey Monkey kunwari, ano po, or sa Google Forms, pwede rin po, no? Sa internet naman ang iyong cost. How about meron pong nagre-raise ng Sir Denan and Sir Robles, thank you po for your answers po. How about Miss sino po? Ma'am Rebuta. Ma'am Rebuta raising her hand po.
Yes po, good afternoon po, ma'am.
Good afternoon
Sa
po.
akin din po, it would depend also on the inclination of the teacher po. Kasi katulad ko, hindi po din ako masyadong marunong in statistics. So, I go for qualitative kasi po, mas hiyang po ako because I am an English teacher po. Thank you.
Opo, okay. Thank you, Ma'am, Miss Rain. Miss Rain Rebuta. Thank you po, ma'am. Okay, yes po. So depende talaga doon sa study niyo kasi minsan po yung sa qualitative gumagamit po tayo ng focus group din. Pag focus group yung we invite them for a meeting. So meeting po siya, tapos we discuss within the meeting na lang po, and then syempre magpapamerienda ka. Tsaka we also record, no? Yung we record the discussion, ganyan po. So depende po sa study mo talaga kung alin ang mas cost. Yan. Okay, so let's go to the next. Ito po yung designs for mixed method. So we have the convergent, explanatory sequential, exploratory sequential, tapos transformative, embedded, or multi-phase. Yan. So start ho natin sa convergent. So sabi dito, convergent is when there is a merging or converging of quantitative and qualitative data to provide comprehensive analysis of the research problem. So what the researcher would do in convergent mixed method is when the forms or the data are collected at the same time, roughly collected at the same time, and that integrates the information in the interpretation of the overall results. So, i-collect na niya at one time. Sometimes po kasi ganito yung ginagawa ng ating mga researchers. In one questionnaire, they have one questionnaire, and then they mix already the quantitative and qualitative there. There are quantitative questions, there are also qualitative questions. For example, they have part one. Say part one would be a Likert scale type of questions, and then after that they have the open-ended questions. So they put them in one questionnaire, and then that would collect two types of data na po. Yan. So that's convergent. Next, we have the explanatory sequential. So what is explanatory sequential? The researcher would conduct quantitative research first. Okay, so mauuna yung quantitative. They would analyze the results and then build on the results to explain them in more detail in qualitative research. Yun yung sinasabi ko kanina na we lean more on the quantitative results. And then we explain with the qualitative research one by one. Ganun po, no? So, why explanatory sequential? So, explanatory because the initial quantitative data results are explained further with the qualitative data. Sequential, on the other hand, because the initial quantitative phase is followed by the qualitative phase. Pagkasunod sila. No? So, they do quantitative first, then next qualitative phase. Yan po. So that's explanatory sequential. The next one, exploratory sequential. O ayan po, no? I suggest kapag gumagawa kayo ng action research, tapos it is mixed method, i-identify nyo kung exploratory or explanatory, sequential, ganyan po. Ay nako, mawiwindang po ang inyong mga panel. Yan po, kasi hindi ho nila alam kung ano yun. Yan. So, exploratory sequential, the reverse sequence from explanatory sequential design. Ibig sabihin, they do the qualitative research first and then sunod yung quantitative. Yan. So, what happens is, the researcher first begins with qualitative research and then explores the views of participants. And then, after these are analyzed, the information used would build into the second phase, which is the quantitative phase. So, mauuna yung qualitative, tapos susunod yung quantitative. Ganun po. No? So, that is the third one. Ito naman siya, transformative, embedded, or multi-phase. So this one, for this mixed method, it is the design that uses a theoretical lens drawn from social justice or power as an overarching perspective within a design that contains both quantitative and qualitative. So, bale, theoretical siya, tapos i-build natin yung design, i-embed natin or ita-transform natin according to what the theory would parang dictate, no? Yun siya. So those are the mixed method pala. The mixed method analysis designs. Yan. So, ko-compare na po natin. Yan. Ito po yung quantitative, ito yung qualitative, at saka yung mixed method. Yes, Ma'am Jacqueline. Ma'am Jacqueline, go ahead po.
Yes, Doc. Good afternoon po. Doc, meron lang po akong question dun po sa mixed method. Na po,
yes,
dun po sa mixed method, since meron pong nauunang quanti and then to be followed by quali, then
yes,
isa po is quali to be followed by quanti. The question po is, yung respondents po or participants po ba must be the same or pwede na pong kumuha ng ibang respondents or participants po for the said research title po or topic po?
Depende po, ma'am. Yung sa exploratory sequential, explanatory and exploratory sequential, pwede hong magkaiba. Pwedeng magkaiba yung response or respondents mo, participants, ganyan. Pwedeng magkaiba, depende ho sa ninyo, sa study ninyo. Usually doon sa unang-una yung what was our first one, converge yung sa converge, usually isang set po yung sa convergent. Usually isang set lang po ito. But I think in explanatory sequential tsaka exploratory sequential, pwedeng magkaiba.
Okay po, Doc. Thank you po.
Let me think of a question. Let me think of an example na magkaiba. Let's say you are testing for kunwari business, no? Business ano ba? Pwede. Yun, yung sa online shopping kunwari, no? Online shopping, let's say kumuha ka ng quantitative data, tapos random siya, tapos marami po siya, no? Marami. Ngayon, kailangan mong i-explain bakit ganun yung behavior nila, buying behavior nila online. So, hindi mo na syempre ma-recall kung sino yung mga respondents mo, no? Kunwari. So you get another set, tapos kapareho yung characteristics, and then you can get qualitative data from them to explain the behavior of the general. Kasi nga general naman, no? Quantitative data yung una. Yun. So that's one example. So yes, ma'am, pwede pong magkaibang group.
Thank you so much, Doc.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you din po sa question. So ito kay ma'am. Yes. Yung kay ma'am Rosel, no? Ay, ma'am Rosel, pwede kong, can I tell them your message? Okay lang po ba? Yes, okay. Ang question po ni ma'am, yung clarify lang po niya if yung sa quantitative respondents, qualitative participants. Yes, correct po ma'am, correct. Kapag quantitative po, we call them our respondents. When especially sa survey, when they answer surveys, we call them respondents. But qualitative po, because they participate in discussions, we call them participants po. Some schools are very particular with this po. So if your study is quantitative, no, they want you to discuss using respondents. Pag qualitative naman po, they want you to discuss using participants. Yan. Pag experimental pala po, no? Experimental, I think they call them subjects. Experimental. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Thank you din po, Ma'am Rochelle. Sino po? Are there any questions po? Are there any more questions?
Doc Mia, si Ma'am Jean po naka-raise yung hand.
Ay, Ma'am Jean. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry po, here ma'am. Am I audible po?
Yes po.
Sir Jean pala. Go ahead, Sir Jean.
Hello po, Doc. I just want to clarify, Doc, if it is possible to use mixed method design in an action research.
Yes, sir. Pwede po.
Kasi po, ma'am, I happened to attend a seminar in which the speaker emphasized that in an action research, mixed method cannot be applied considering the limited time of its preparation. So we had this program in DepEd also, ma'am, na if your research is approved in region, you will be granted as BERF, yung parang tawag, they will be providing you fund for your research. Now, my research, ma'am, approved, and I introduced to them that I conducted this mixed method in my research. However, they corrected me that it is only triangulated even if I conducted interviews of my participants. Tama po ba yun, Doc?
Ang reason po kasi, yun po yung reason nila, kaya actually hindi yung cannot, you can, why not, di po ba? You can use mixed method in an action research. Definitely you can. Depende doon sa topic mo, no po? Depende sa, yun nga, depende doon sa problem mo, depende doon sa sinasagot mong questions. Definitely you can use mixed method. Ang ano lang po yata, they discourage you kasi nga po mahirap in terms of time, no? In terms of time in analysis, baka magkulang ka. Yan. Kaya it's not the you cannot use, but it is the I suggest don't. Yung ganon sa kanila. However, if you have the time, 1 year yung sa action research, di po ba? 1 year yung action research. Pwede po, workable yan. Workable ang mixed method. If the mixed method that you will use naman po is like, for example, yung sinasabi natin dyan, yung convergent, yung convergent, yung emerge mo na. Emerge mo na para minsanan yung analysis mo, minsanan din yung pag-support ng data with each other. So with convergent, mas mapapabilis yung trabaho mo. Ganun po.
Thank you po, Doc, for the clarification.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Sometimes po kasi they say they tell you not to use mixed method kasi hindi ho nila maintindihan ano yung ginawa mo. So, ang importante po kasi when you do mixed method is you document. I-document mo po. I am using this because this set of data is being used because nandun po lahat, dapat i-explain mo. One reason why you are your action research as teachers, di ba? Kasi yon required na sa inyo, di po ba? For master teachers po ba?
Yes po, yes po.
For master teachers, you are required to do research. So the reason why you are being turned down, no, yung study nyo hindi ina-accept, kulang ho tayo sa explanation. I-explain nyo po. Kasi sabihin na natin, okay, kayo gumagawa ng research. Minsan po kasi yung ating evaluators, they do not have any idea doon sa ginagawa ninyo. Thus, you need to document. I-document mo, isulat mo, sabihin mo bakit ito yung ginamit mo, bakit mixed method yung ginamit mo. Tsaka meron ka naman pong anong tawag dito, timeline, right? You have your timeline, then specify there that I will be able to finish at this particular duration, no? Ito yung time na gagawin ko to. Yan. Explain nyo lang po. Maiintindihan nila. Ang tingin ko po, the reason why I don't know who the speaker is, pero I think that's the only thing na na dinidiscourage kayo to use mixed methods. Kasi nga po, talagang when you do these two, you will have to use more time for analysis. Analysis and interpretation. I hope I answered your question, sir.
Okay po, ma'am. Thank you po.
Yes. Okay, any more po? Any more questions? Ituloy ko lang po dun sa dun sa comparison natin. So these are the designs. These are the quantitative designs, qualitative designs, and mixed methods. So ano ba ang pagkakaiba nitong tatlo? What are the differences? Okay, where do they differ na talaga, no? Yung specific po yung difference niya. Okay. Sa SOP. Yan, sa SOP po. Yung problem natin in quantitative is the problems in our quantitative research, this would require data that are numeric in nature, or we need computations, no? Definitely yung sa profile. Definitely in profiling, we use quantitative. So kung kung ang profiling nyo nasa SOP mo, no? Then yes, you will use quantitative. Another thing is, if you are comparing, if you're looking for a relationship, you're looking for a difference, you're looking for a degree of yung correlation, yung mga ganun po, definitely quantitative din, no? Sa qualitative, ang pagkakaiba naman po sa qualitative, usually ang SOP natin, 1 or 2 main questions lang po yan. 1 or 2 main questions. I had one master's degree candidate. Yung SOP niya, dami-dami niyang question, no? Dami-dami niyang question. So, questionan po siya ng panel niya. Bakit ang dami-dami mong questions? Qualitative ka, ganyan. So, sabi niya, ito yung gusto kong malaman. Ito yung gusto kong malaman. So, the panel suggested na pagsamahin niya yung mga questions na yon into 1 or 2 lang. Pag gawin niya lang into 1 or 2, tapos sub-questions na lang yung iba. Ganun po, no? So, ganun usually sa qualitative, 1 or 2 main questions lang. Main statements, no? Main statements of the problem. Of course, doon sa quantitative, we should have hypothesis, di ba? Kung nagko-compare tayo, kung nagte-test tayo, no? We should have a hypothesis. Quantitative 'yon. So makikita mo kapag quantitative, merong hypothesis 'yan. I mean, pag comparison. Kasi pwede namang quantitative pero descriptive lang siya. We will just use descriptive statistics, no? Like measures of central tendency, mga ganyan, or ranking, mga ganon. So we will only use we will not have hypothesis there. Kapag comparison, like correlation, yung mga gano'n, no? We should have hypothesis. That means quantitative siya. Definitely, ang SOP ng qualitative, wala po siyang hypothesis. However, meron tayong assumptions. Minsan we assume, ito yung assumption natin. Ganyan. And we want to prove assumptions. Yung assumptions natin usually is linked to our theories. No? We link to our theories. Yan. So yun yung SOP natin. So SOP rin kasi dun sa usually, no, sa quantitative, meron tayong output, no? Meron tayong output. Magkaiba yung output ng quantitative at qualitative. Minsan po kasi yung mga output natin model, action research, mga ganyan po, no? Minsan yung yung thinking ng ibang advisors tsaka mga panels, na kapag qualitative, walang output yan. Hindi po totoo yun. Kapag may research ka, kailangan may output ka. Di po ba? If you will do research, kailangan ano ba yung resulta? What is it that you want to contribute to research, to contribute to the knowledge, no? To the general knowledge. Ano ba yun? Yung output mo. I remember another advisee, sabi niya, "Ma'am, wala daw output yung research ko kasi it's a qualitative research." No. Lahat ng research mo merong output yan. Meron dapat output yan. So quantitative man, qualitative man, kailangan meron kang output. Parang anong ginawa mo? Parang, ano ba, 1 plus 1, di ba? 1 plus 1, okay, na-compute ko na. Di ba? Anong sagot? Anong answer mo? Yun, ganun po, no? So, we need output. Especially now, internationally po, no? Internationally, ang research natin is output-based na. Output-based. Ibig sabihin, all researches, hindi lang puros, okay, I have an article, ito na yung article ko, that's it. Hindi po, no? In international research journals, nire-require po niya, ano ba yung output mo? Ano ba yung result ng iyong research? Sa India po, ang output na gusto po nila, India and Malaysia po, no? Ang gusto po nila tangible yung output. Tangible yung output. For example, we want to develop a parang framework, we want to develop a model, we want to create a system, mga ganun po, no? Those are outputs. So, mali po yung sinasabi nila na kapag qualitative research ka, wala kang output. Mali po yan. Mali po yan. Lahat po meron tayong output. Okay, so now we go to research outline. Research outline, definitely magkaiba po siya. Kasi nga, di ba, yung sa SOP na lang po, iba na. No? So, yung outline ng research natin, magkaiba na. Sa methods, of course, methods of research, syempre, because in qualitative nga, qualitative, ang i-discuss mo doon yung paano mo, how you're going to collect the data, ganyan, no? So magkaiba na yung pag-discuss mo. And also we have checklists. Okay, we have checklists in designing our research. Okay, ito po. I-stop ko muna po ito and then I will open the checklist para ma-discuss po natin. Okay. May I share my screen po ulit? Okay, so I have checklists here. Nakikita po ba natin?
Yes,
These
po.
are checklists for research designs. Syempre, pag survey, it's for quantitative, and then we have a checklist for qualitative method. May isa pa pero hindi ko yata naidagdag. Ayun po pala yung isa. Ito yung sa experimental. Yan. So, unahin natin for survey. So, pag survey, ito po yung kailangan alam natin. So, yung purpose ho ba nung survey design, alam na natin? Meron na ba tayong purpose ng survey design? Are the reasons for choosing the design mentioned? And is the nature of the survey, is it cross-sectional or longitudinal identified? Ano po, no? I suggest kapag gagawa po kayo ng survey, i-follow nyo po itong checklist na to. Tapos ito na rin po yung yung i-discuss ninyo. Doon sa discussion nyo ng survey ninyo, dapat ito na i-follow na po ninyo, no? So, is the population and size mentioned? No? Kasi sasabihin po natin yan. Will the population be stratified? Kung paano ba? Ganon. How many people are in the sample? Nandun po sa population and sample ho natin yan, di ba? What will be the procedure for sampling? What instrument are you going to use for the survey? Who developed the instrument? Ano ba? Adapted ba yan? Or self-made? Di ba? What are the content areas addressed in the survey, the scales, di ba? So, how many parts ba yan? Do you have only one part, two parts, or many parts, ganyan? Ano yung scale mo? Likert scale ba siya? Ilang points? 4 point, 5 point, ganyan, 7 point, ganun po, no? So, i-specify mo po yan. What procedures will be used to pilot or field test the survey? What is the timeline for administering the survey? Kailan mo ba ibibigay yung survey? May pre-test, post-test ba yan? Ganon, no? What are the varieties in the study? How do these variables cross-reference? Ganyan. What specific steps will be taken, etc. No? How do you analyze them? How will you check? Ganyan. So ito po yung mga questions na kailangan tanungin mo sa sarili mo bago ka gumawa ng survey. Then we have checklist for experimental naman. Who are the participants, population, participant selected, o so as you can see, experiment participant. Ano po? Pero yung sa survey respondent. Yan. Actually, subjects, minsan tinatawag po nilang subjects sa experimental. Ay, yung mga variables, ganyan, no? Pilot test, etc. Ito naman po sa qualitative. So qualitative is we identify the basic characteristics of the qualitative study. What is the specific type of qualitative design, etc., etc. Ayan na po yung ating checklist. Yan. So don't worry po, I will send this. By the way, this is by Sherwell ulit. No? Sherwell, pero 2014 na po ito. So latest na book niya po ito. I will send this to Ma'am Ria, to Prof. Ria po, and then she can give you a copy. Kasi very important din po ito. Nakakatulong siya. Hindi lang sa making sure na complete yung study mo, pwede mo rin pong gamitin ito para dun sa discussion mo. Kasi minsan, ano kayang i-discuss ko dun sa di ba? Dun sa methods ko, ganyan. Hindi mo alam kung ano yung i-discuss mo. So, eto, no? Kung ano yung mga ginawa mo dyan, i-discuss mo siya. Yan. Para kompleto po. So, that is for your checklist for qualitative method, experimental, at saka survey. Yan. So, yun po ang pagkakaiba. Ay, syempre, ayan. Syempre, pag mixed method po, dalawang checklist yung gagawin mo. Yung checklist mo for your either survey or experimental plus yung sa qualitative po. Ganun po. Ayan. Of course, isa pang magkakaiba ang instrument. Syempre, no? Instrument would be different with qualitative tsaka quantitative. Syempre, qualitative would be either interview, document analysis, pwede rin po expert data collection, focus group, ganun po. No? Observation din po, pwedeng observation ang qualitative, tapos ikaw ang magbibigay ng specific In quantitative, pwedeng survey. Actually, sa quantitative, pwede rin pong mag-interview, pero napakahirap mag-interview pag masyadong marami, hindi mo ba? Yan. What else? Ayun po. So those are the differences sa tatlo. Okay, so I think that's it for me po for the designing of quantitative, qualitative, and mixed method. If there are any questions, I am open to it now. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Doc Mia.
Yes,
If you have
ma'am.
questions, you can use the raise hand icon or put your questions in the chat box and we'll read it out for Doc Mia to answer. Meron po ba tayong question for Doc Mia? Wala pa pong question. Doc Mia, what would you advise to teachers who are teaching research? Para po we can develop a culture of research where people are not afraid to do research kasi merong attitude na ganun among students and even among professionals that when they hear research parang they cringe or
Opo.
shy away from it.
Yes po.
Parang maging siyang interesting and exciting, hindi yung nakakatakot niya.
Ito po moms and sirs. Ito yung lagi ko pong sinasabi sa mga teachers who are teaching research. Gumawa ho kayo ng research nyo. Kasi po, ang nakakatawa, marami pong teachers marami po tayong mga teachers na hindi ho sila naka-experience gumawa ng research. Yung bang nagtuturo ka na ng practical research 1, practical research 2, pero ikaw po mismo wala kang research. Ano ho ang may papakita mo, di ba? Maganda po yun, yung meron kang research, meron kang na-publish, tapos ipakita mo po, example mo. That would be your example to your students. Yung pong nakatapos na ng master's sa inyo, yung master's thesis ninyo, pakita nyo sa mga estudyante nyo po yun, no? Show them yung lived experience mo na nagre-research para siya yung personal, yung bang personalized siya, di ba? Personalized siya, yung mafe-feel nila na yung struggle pala ni ma'am ganito, ay kaya ko rin yan, ganyan, no? So yun ang unang-una pong suggestion, mag-research ho kayo. Get into the bandwagon. Yan. How do you call this? Mag-publish ho kayo. You publish po. Yan, later on po may na si Prof. Ria. Pwede na tayong mag-publish sa kanila. Later po. Meron po ba, ma'am? May facility na kayo for publishing research?
In the future, Doc Mia, when we host conferences siguro, we'll also pair it with a research publication component.
Yes, ma'am. O yun po, no? Mag-publish po tayo. And then, and then we show to our students that we are doing, these are the things that we are doing. These are the research that we are doing. Ganun po.
Thank you, Doc Mia. Talagang, I think one of the indicators where we are also assessed low is in research and publication. Kaya po,
yes,
even DepEd nga po, sinasabi kanina ng teachers natin, meron sila yung BERF na tinatawag, yung Basic Education Research Fund. So they're funding research. Kaya aside from, of course, experience, there's also other advantages to doing research. There are funding agencies, di ba, Doc Mia?
Yes, ma'am. Yun nga po, we have the bar, kaya lang wala hong takers. May takers pero napaka-konti po. Napaka-konti ng takers.
Yes, there even outside DepEd, there are other funding agencies like, for example, for books naman, creative work and BDB.
Yes,
and CCA also, if you want to do other types of research. Marami pong, kumbaga meron din pera sa research. DOST, yes.
DOST.
Opo.
Yun po sa DOST, it's output-based. So your research must have an output. You must have a tangible dapat yung output mo. And I think the funding is quite good, no?
Yes.
DOST po.
And it doesn't have to be lonely work kasi pwede naman pong group research yan. Hindi po kailangan mag-isa kayo.
Yes, you can research in groups po. Yung mga math teachers po, magsama-sama kayo. Yan, mag-research kayo. Yung mga science teachers po, magsama-sama kayo. Tapos mag-isip po kayo ng topic. Basta do research po. Do research. And that would be the number one, sabihin na natin, characteristic na, strategy para maging interested din yung mga estudyante nyo. Si Sir nga, ito yung ginawa niya. Ang ganda-ganda ng research ni Sir. O di? you will be able to, you know, parang encourage your students
through
to do
example.
research din po.
And also, Doc Mia, yung presentation, wag natin kalimutan yung presentation in conferences na ginaganap all over the world.
Yes po. Mm-mm. Until now, we still have online presentations po. So maybe if you cannot travel, you can take advantage of the online conferences po to present your research. Madali na lang po yun. Di ba?
Yes, pag online, less expense kasi you don't have to travel. Pero if you're funded and it allows for travel expenses as well, why not take advantage of it? Kasi po, Doc Mia, ang experience namin dito, you also find collaborators dun sa mga conferences na who might be interested in your research or you might be interested in their research. Magkakaroon ka pa ng foreign collaborator. So magandang po yun, opportunity.
Yes, ma'am. And here's another one po, no? You look for conferences na free. Marami pong free. Yun po kasing nakikita nyo na ina-advertise, yung mga pino-promote, may bayad po yan. Some of them they're in it for the money. So ang hanapin nyo po, yung pong mga free. Marami pong free. Kindly check sa China, Indonesia, India. There are schools who offer publication and in conferences for free po, as long as you are an educator. They will accept your paper and allow you to present and allow you to publish it with them. Although hindi ho siya Scopus, hindi ho siya ISI.
Usually mahal yun.
An international peer-reviewed publication still matters. So, try lang po natin. Meron ka pa rin I think sa SICAP po ba yun? SICAP is pagka nakapag-publish ka in peer-reviewed, not just Scopus and ISI, no? Yung mga reputable na databases. Yung kahit peer-reviewed lang po, peer-reviewed, I think you will get like 40,000 pag nakapag-publish ka.
May incentive,
Yes po. So, check ho natin.
Yes, aside from the promotion points, of course, when you publish and when you present po in conferences. So, talaga pong there's value in doing research. Aside, of course, from the knowledge that it generates, no?
Yes.
Nakakapag-contribute po talaga tayo sa body of knowledge dun sa mga topics na nire-research natin.
Yes po. And especially when you are teaching students, na-upgrade ka, na-update ka, syempre yung maituturo mo sa mga estudyante, updated and upgraded din.
That's true. Parang if you also join conferences and you publish in journals, it also enriches what you can offer to your students. Hindi lang puro book knowledge about research, but actual research practice. So enriching po na experience.
Yes, ma'am.
You have questions po? No more questions? Okay, Doc Mia, final words po for our dear teachers to encourage them.
Yes. Like I said a while ago, it has been my pleasure and my honor to be here with you. My take on research po is do research. Mag-research ho tayo. Let's not let our student let's not make them do research na hindi rin ho natin ginawa, parang ganun. So if you teach research, make sure na meron kang research din po. And so thank you so much, and yung ko lang po is let's research. Ay, ano ba yan yung let's publish or perish, sabi nga nila. Okay. So, bye everyone and have a wonderful weekend ahead.
Thank you, Doc Mia.
And thank you, Doc Ria and Prof. Ria and Sir Melvin for having me.
Thank you po.
Okay. Bye po.
Bye, Doc Mia. Thank you, dear teachers, for very actively engaging with Doc Mia this afternoon. I hope the first session has set the tone for the 3 other sessions that we will be having. So now, after the first session, we have a clearer idea of what qualitative methods are, what quantitative methods are, and when you do mixed methods, what are you really doing? So now we have, we're probably excited to propose our own projects, and we have topics in mind already. So yun po yung gagawin natin sa ating assessment for session 1. We're going to think of a topic, think of a research problem that you'd like to do. Pwede pong you're personally interested in it, or pwede naman pong something that you would already like to propose as action research for your own school or division. Kasi po maganda yun, if you have a topic in mind, yun na po yung gagawin nating workshop for this webinar para mapakinabangan din natin yung output natin for the next 3 days. We now move on, dear teachers, to our asynchronous session to answer our assessment for session 1. Now, dear teachers, we welcome to the i.LEAD family our lifetime member, Ma'am Myra Noriesta from SDO Santa Rosa. Let me remind everyone that the membership link is up on our FB group page, and our cutoff for this is up to 5 p.m. tomorrow so that we can prepare your IDs and certificates. Of course, for those of you who have not yet accomplished the attendance link, it's still up on our FB group page po. So make sure po na naka-sign in kayo sa ating attendance. And of course, para magawa po natin yung ating assessment for session 1, kindly download the assessment tool. Word file po ito. Baka po cellphone yung ginagamit natin, medyo mahirapan po tayo mag-download. Subukan po natin gamitin ang download function sa ating device na merong Word application like our laptops or desktop. Tapos i-save lang po natin, hindi pa po isa-submit yan. Sasagutan pa lang po natin yung ating assessment for session 1. Thank you very much, dear teachers. We'll see you back tomorrow. Whole day po tayo. Our first session is 8:30 in the morning. Thank you very much po.
Thank you po.
Thank you po. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you po. See you tomorrow.
Thank you po.
Thank you po. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow morning po.
Thank you po.
Mary po. Oh, may dako. Mary.
Thank you po. We'll see you tomorrow.
Salamat po.
Thank you.
Yan po, Ma'am Maria.
Thank you po. We'll see you tomorrow.
Ay, mo join ako kanina.
Thank you po. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you po.
Thank you po.
Salamat po. Salamat po, ma'am.
Thank you po. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you po.
Thank you po.
Okay, thank you.
Maria, ma'am, pwede
Thank
po ba magtanong, ma'am?
Yes po. Yes po, ma'am.
Ma'am, kasi po I am an Adventist po, then I will be not around tomorrow.
Yes po.
Paano po yun, ma'am? Can I have the attendance after sunset po, and then I'll just, after I view po session for tomorrow po, ma'am?
Yes po, you can still accomplish po yung attendance for tomorrow. View nyo na lang po yung mga YouTube videos, ma'am. Naka-link po yun sa ating FB group page. No problem po.
Alam niyo po, because I am an Adventist po. Ito po.
Ito po.